that during the time you're providing that service, you're adding that value, but you're also marketing and planting the seed for future business.
Right.
And then it's afterwards developing that increased relationship, because most people, when they're done, they're going on to go start over again to get that first business.
Right.
So I know you have this concept of a 20% return on a relationship. You know, you talk about, you know, they like you, they respect you. What was the third one you gave?
That know you, like you, trust you.
Know you, like you, trust you.
Yep.
And that there's equity in that. Why don't you explain that?
Well, I look at, and I do this with the real estate agents, look at their relationship portfolio as a valuable asset, because that's really what it is. It's competition proof virtually.
Because
you are their real estate agent, or you are their lender, or you are their carpet cleaner, you are their coach, you are their Fijian resort, whatever it is. You are the de facto one that's at the top of their mind right now. As soon as people leave, if you don't maintain that relationship with them, that sort of memory fades, that drifts. You're not presencing that with them, you know? So I look at that is, for the real estate agents, I look at managing that relationship portfolio for a 20% annual yield.
Now, what do you mean by that?
Okay, so if you think about one person who would be within we talk about your top 150 for real estate agent, having 150 people who know you, like you, trust you, that if you think about one of those people, if you were to just nurture a relationship with those people and build a close bond with them over the next 5 years, do you think it would be likely that they would do one more transaction with you or refer one person to you at some point over those 5 years?
Right.
That is a 20%, and we get one time in 5 years.
Right.
Now, when you look at it and you magnify that over the entire bundle of all of your clients, that you look at it and say, not everybody's going to wait the whole 5 years to do another transaction. Some of them may never do another transaction, but some of them may refer 2 or 3 people a year to you forever if you gave them the opportunity.
Right.
You know, the after unit, that's the big opportunity that everybody has, that most people truly under-optimize the opportunity that they have there.
Well, part of it is the most expensive part usually is getting the customer.
Yeah.
And we all know this consciously, but maybe at a time like this, people will start to focus and say, okay, I've worked so hard to get this relationship. How do I make sure that I not only deliver the best service, but sometimes people deliver the best service, but they don't ask for the next step. Now, I know, for example, you know, when you talked about, you know, when you sent these, you know, the flyers out on the little booklet, right, for people that are in an apartment about how to buy a house. Well, great, now I have an interest, I've voted with my hand, I'm in the game, but I know a lot of people do that, and then their mindset will be, you know, please let me know if you want to buy a house.
Right.
You know, I know you have a different approach to that.
Yeah, absolutely, because that's about being a leader. That's what people are really looking for, is that somebody knows what their needs are, can anticipate what the next best step for somebody is, and to offer them the easiest way to get that next step. Right. You know, you said earlier that a lot of times people just say, you know, if there's anything I can help you with, if there's, you know, anything you want, feel free to give me a call. Here's my phone number. And we're expecting that our prospects are going to take the first step. We're expecting them to step out of their comfort zone and ask us to do something for them. And so the example I use is, if I were to bring you to my house and I were to sit you down in the living room and say, Tony, I'm really happy you're here. If there's anything you want, there's lots of stuff in the fridge. Go ahead and help yourself. I'll be over here if you need me. Just give me a call. Now,
yeah, I don't know too many people that go in your refrigerator,
exactly.
even without a limitation. I don't think so.
Even though I really sincerely would want you to feel comfortable enough to go.
But it's
into
against
my
most
fridge.
people's human nature to initiate like
Absolutely.
that, even though the invitation is there. Not some people. Some people will take everything out of your refrigerator and eat all your food.
Now,
right?
if I went into my kitchen and I came out with a plate of freshly baked cookies and I brought them right to you, and I said, Tony, would you like a cookie? It would be very difficult for you not to take the cookie.
That's true.
You know, it's the way we're societally wired is to we don't want to reject people.
Right.
And we don't want people to go out of our way. If I ever said to you, you know, there's lots of stuff in the fridge, can I do anything for you? You would never in a million years say, you know what,
Make me a
would you
steak
bake
dinner.
me some cookies?
Bake me some cookies. You're
Yeah,
right.
I mean, you'd never want me to go out of my way like that.
never.
But if I brought out the cookies, you'd probably take one, even if it wasn't your favorite kind of cookie,
Right.
because you wouldn't want me to feel bad.
So it's easier when you have a pathway for someone,
Yeah.
where you don't just make an offer, but you have a pathway, and it's easy for them then to accept the next offer. But most people aren't making that offer because they don't want to feel like they're being a hard closer, or they're selling them,
Yes.
or they're pushing them, or whatever the right word would
Right.
be. So what's your philosophy, and what's your mindset different than that? Because that's most people's mindset. They're saying, people are inundated, but the truth of the matter is, because people are inundated, they get in state, and they might even think about it now, but the next thing's going to distract them. The next email, the next phone call, their kid coming in, if there isn't a specific request.
Yes.
So you're good at making sure there's a specific request.
Right. So you look at it, let's take the real estate agent again as an example, that if nobody would ever, you call up the real estate agent and say, you know what, would you log on to the computer and just print off all the listings for me that have come on the market in the last 2 weeks between this price range and in this area? It sounds like I'm asking you to do a lot of work.
Right.
But if I said to you, would you like a subscription to our Market Watch newsletter or Home Finder newsletter, where you get updates of all the new homes that come on the market? It prints them out every 2 weeks. We mail them to you, and you get them right there in your mailbox. That sounds like exactly what you want.
Right.
It sounds like it's already happening. I'm just going to add your name to the list.
Right.
It's easy for you to
It's
consume.
the plate of cookies.
Yes.
Earlier, we were talking about this idea of how to make it easy for people to, accept something.
Well, when you look at rather than saying, having me expecting you to call me up as a real estate agent and say, hey, Dean, we'd like to look at homes. Can you take us out to look at homes? That's a big step for people to take.
And they may not even know if they're that committed yet.
Right. But if I send you an email or an insert in my newsletter that you're already subscribing to, you've gone from, I'd like the book on how to buy a home. Yes, I'd like to get the newsletter with all the updates of the new homes in my price range. Now, within that newsletter, if I'm offering you an insert that says, hey, Tony, every Saturday in January, we're having free Saturday tours of homes where you can come and see homes in your price range. The tours start at 10 o'clock, at 1 o'clock, or 3 o'clock. Just go here and register for one of the tours. Now, for all the world, it seems like, well, this is something that's going on. People might have visions of maybe there'll be, 20 people on this tour. Who knows? It doesn't matter. It could be a one-on-one tour.
Yeah, if I sign up for 10 o'clock,
Exactly.
you're going to go take me on the tour.
Guess what, Tony? You're the luckiest guy today. You're the only one. It's just us. You're going to get a private tour. But it's taken that next step. Now we're in a relationship where we're moving forward, where we're looking at we're progressing. We're taking the next step. And that can only happen because I've anticipated what the next logical step is for you. And then after we start looking at homes, you might want to get pre-approved for a mortgage. But boy, that pre-approval sounds like a scary word. I mean, you just it's got a confrontational element to it, doesn't it? It's like almost like if
Am I
I'm a
gonna get
banker,
rejected or not?
yeah, I'm going to sit on the other side of the table and I'm going to tell you whether you're approved for a mortgage. I mean, we all want approval, and anytime there's an opportunity where I might not get that approval, I don't want to put myself in that situation. Right. But if I offered you a free home loan report where it showed you all of the different options that are available, and now all of a sudden I'm on the same side of the table as you, and you and I together, we're going to evaluate all of those options, and we're going to approve of one of these loans. Right. It's not that your personal, approval is coming into it. It's that I'm giving you information on all the best home loans that are available for your situation.
So what it sounds like is, in that first of those 3 units, as you described them, the marketing unit, the getting people, to your business. What's the language you use for it? The first step is
the before unit.
The before unit. Okay, so before they become a customer, basically, before they have a real experience. Right. You're taking that and you're really breaking it down step by step and saying, what's the most minute step? So I can get a small step in there, and what's the next step, and what's the next step? And then you're languaging it in a way like, when they talk about oil drilling, people don't have a very good perspective of that. But if they say we're doing offshore oil exploration.
Right. It's all about language, isn't it?
I mean, language changes people's feelings. So your home report frames it differently. So it's a combination of those before steps of thinking, putting yourself in, saying, who is the customer that really needs this?
Yeah.
Who am I going to specialize in? Not the whole forest.
Right.
But who are the individuals? What are the three archetypes of the type of people? The person who wants to buy a house, who's in an apartment and doesn't know how.
Yes.
The person who's going to be moving because they're going to still have to move regardless of the marketplace. They've been relocated, so that's another market you obviously went after. So I'm going to pick these 2 or 3 areas, not too many, and I'm going to think about what are the steps that these people need that I can provide as a service that's easy, and I'm going to kind of not so much assume the sale, but make it very easy for you to accept it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make sure I move step by step along the way. Yeah. And then I'm going to move you into where I'm able to be in the during step, where I'm actually able to now serve you.
That's it. And it's okay if you don't want to come into that next level. The whole point is that I'm making that available to you. It's not trying to sell you on subscribing to the Home Finder newsletter or to coming on a tour. It's presenting it to you, giving you that option,
and
making it easy. And if you don't want to, that's okay too.
Yeah. So it's not being pushy.
Not at all.
And it's a direct opposite of going out there and knocking on doors, and because that's interruptive. Right. That's what annoys people the most in this area. So you get to actually be much more efficient. Yes. You're getting people who are already voting with at least a hand. They're saying, yeah, I am interested in the apartment. I am considering moving. I am looking at a house. Yeah. And each time they're raising their hand, you're moving them further down the line in this area. So in the during step, what are the things you do in the during step? Are there a similar pattern there that you do to make sure the person, while you're serving them, while you're delivering your service, prepares them so that they want to do business with you again in the future, or prepares them so that they're really going to want to refer their friends? How do you go about that? Tell us some steps.
Okay, ultimately, it's got to begin with the end in mind. You can have, if I talk about this, because it starts with presenting your options. That's the first thing. The during unit starts when you're in a consultation with somebody, and it could go either way at that point. But you've got to realize that.
So you're saying a consultation, an appointment, a meeting,
exactly,
on the phone or face to face, whatever it is.
That the first thing that you've got to realize is that what they really want is the benefit. They want the end result that you're offering. So if you're selling your house and you're going to interview 4 or 5 different real estate agents for that job, well, it gets right down to it, what you really want is you want your house to be sold, right? So you look at it, and with that in mind, you think, what's the most efficient, what's the most effective thing to get to that result? It's not about all the things that you do. It's not about making a big pageantry of all of the things that you do. Because a lot of times, if we had 4 real estate agents lined up and they were all presenting all of the different services that they offer, it's not about all of that, because I could come in behind any one of those and I could talk to you and find out, when do you want to move? And how much do you think your house is worth? How much are you asking for your house? We've got some information here. It says it's worth $1.2 million. And when would you like to move? And if I were to get out my checkbook and write a check for $1.2 million and put that date on the calendar of when you're moving, it doesn't matter how great whatever they were promising is, you're going to go with me because I've got the result that you really want, Right. So you start thinking about what is the most predictable and consistent way to deliver the result, and then add all of the experience elements to it that people are feeling like they're having, they're comfortable and confident all the way along the way. And we've been talking a lot about real estate, but it applies to any business. I mean, let's say somebody is in a kitchen remodel business, if you could see somebody sending out postcards offering a free kitchen planner. Right. And when they get the kitchen planner, you could give them a free 6-month subscription to your Kitchen Ideas newsletter. Right. You could invite them to your kitchen workshop where it shows all of the, you got contractors in there answering all your questions about kitchen remodels. You could invite them to invite you in for a free kitchen assessment, or, see how it all goes steps, like that. Yeah. And then when you actually get the business, what are the things that people are going to judge the experience by? What are their criteria for whether they had a world-class experience, in addition to getting the ultimate result that they wanted? And if you can kind of systemize and streamline that result so that you can get that result predictably again and again and again, that's the freedom right there. Yeah.
A guy that I worked with recently that's a web developer and does just an extraordinary job and does SEO. The process, he not only delivered incredible work, but each meeting we had was so efficient, right? He had it planned, it was laid out, it was clear, it was visually stunning, to let us know where we were at each stage.
Yeah.
And so, I raved about him to everybody. I said, this is the guy. He not only delivered it, but he made the process enjoyable. He was efficient with my time. I felt like there wasn't a time that I was on the phone with him that was wasted.
Right.
So all those pieces turned me more into a raving fan than just a satisfied customer.
Yeah.
And so I referred more business to him. You didn't have to ask me about it because I was talking to the people about it. So it's the same process then. It's just saying, not only what's the end result and how do you give people confidence so you can deliver that, but what else would make that experience incredibly rich for them, more that would deliver beyond what they would expect.
Right.
Those are the pieces.
Always leading, always being a leader. Like, so often, sometimes people focus on the relationship part and they just want to bond, and as long they feel like everything is okay with the relationship, that everything else will be okay. But it's really about that leadership, about the purpose, about feeling like everything that is happening for a purpose, and you know exactly what's going on.
What's the difference between the Four Seasons Hotel and a Marriott?
Right.
You might say the outside structures of the marble and all those things, but truthfully, when you go through it, it's the service. It's that you get out of the pool and the towel is there. The water is anticipated. Your drink is there. They think of every little creature comfort that's there, and those little creature comforts cost so little. That service costs so little, but it's what makes somebody come back again and again because they feel like they're home. Everybody knows your name.
Well, when you think about that, even one level down from the Four Seasons would be the Westin Hotel, where they focused all of their attention on the things that you really are focused on when you're in a hotel. I mean, they've got the heavenly bed.
That's right.
Focused on that. What are you really most concerned about? A comfortable bed and getting a good shower. So they've got the dual shower heads with the angled bar. It's all completely outwardly focused on what's going to give you a great hotel experience.
And even if you haven't been there, just the promise that you're going to have the most incredible bed and you're going to have a great shower and great food is the third one, right? Those three things cover so much of the area. And then when you do have that experience, making sure that then they maximize that. So let's go to the third part. Let's go now to the after experience.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about what are some specific strategies that people could look at, and let's try to do some things outside of real estate.
Okay.
I know you're not just limited to real estate,
no.
but I know you train thousands of them. That's why they're succeeding in this market.
Right.
So, but let's look at some other businesses and use some examples just like you did. What would you look on as the after experience? What are the kinds of things that would allow you to keep that relationship not just warm, but a relationship where they want to do business with you again, assuming you have a service that you can sell again and again, or that would get you that referral base?
Well, first of all, it's about elevating the relationship from just a transactional business relationship into a friendship type of relationship now. Absolutely, where now you've got a friend in the real estate business or the kitchen business or wherever, whatever business it is, that you want people to feel like they've got a friend in that business, like they're an insider now. And the whole kind of the activating part of the after unit is that three things have to happen in order for people to refer you. Number one, people have to notice when conversations are about whatever it is that your business does. So they're in a anytime somebody refers somebody to somebody else, or refers a movie, or refers a massage therapist, or anything, it's because they noticed that the conversation was about movies, or they noticed that it was about books, or absolutely.
They're building a website.
Yes. So you look at that, and after they notice that conversation, they have to think about you. That they notice it, and that immediately triggers the thought about you. But the third thing that has to happen is they have to now introduce you into that conversation. Now, I can't imagine that anybody who's gone to Fiji and stayed at your resort, coming home, noticing somebody else talking about Fiji
Or a vacation.
or a vacation is going to say, that's going to, they're going to think about you. They're going to think about your resort. They're going to introduce that to them and almost rave about it.
They do.
Well, that's what happens, and that's because you had a great experience in the touring.
Yeah.
If
Everybody, every Fijian knows your name.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling. They memorize every guest's name. They follow it up. Every person is following up. People are so happy. They come and entertain. They step up and see where things are. They become family. When people are leaving, they're crying. I actually got an email today from Chet Holmes, a gentleman in this business who's really successful, and he said, I've never gone on vacation in my life where I was sad leaving the vacation. I'm always looking forward to coming home and kicking it. He goes, I was sad. I didn't want to leave. He goes, bro, this is an unbelievable experience. So he's immediately talking about who we can refer. So yes, he's going to notice those conversations. He's going to remember us. And then what we got to do is make it easy, though, for people to refer. So how do you do that? And how do you stay in their consciousness? Because as you say, as time goes by, some experiences are just so incredible. You created such a raving fan experience. People are there. Other experiences, they're a great experience, but now they're on to other things.
Right.
So how do you stay in their consciousness, and how do you make it easy for them to refer?
Well, I can't imagine any business that would not benefit by having a monthly newsletter, at least. A monthly way, or a bi-monthly at the very least, of keeping in touch with people, where you're talking to them not so much about the transactional element now, but focusing on their life, on adding value in their new role. It's different. If you drove a BMW, it'd be different if you were sending, a BMW dealer was sending you information about all the statistics at the dealership. It doesn't matter. You're not a prospect anymore. You own a BMW. Wouldn't it be great if they were, communicating with you about ways to enjoy your new role as BMW owner?
Right.
And to give people opportunities to introduce other people to you, to ask to actively orchestrate that.
Like Range Rover does a great job of that. Rolls-Royce obviously has done that for years and made those types of things. So a newsletter is a way to do it. What's another way to do it?
Another way to do it might be asking people to refer somebody specific. If you look at, again, a lot of people look at their client base as that forest. If you look at the individual trees, it's almost like playing detective, where you're kind of building a profile of somebody, a referral profile. And if they were to refer you, what would be the most likely scenario that they would refer you? Because people often hang around with people who are sort of in their same situation. Their inner circle are all people who
could do the same thing.
Could do exactly the same thing. I have an example of friends who live in a townhouse complex, and the wife stays at home with the little girl. She's constantly in the playground, hanging out with all the other mothers, all the other families. And if anybody was going to be moving within that townhouse complex, she'd know. Right. So next time I was showing townhouses, I would send an email to Kim and say, hey, Kim, I'm going to be showing townhouses this Saturday. There's only 3 available. Who do you know that's thinking about going to be selling their townhouse? Maybe able to match them up with this couple from Atlanta.
Right. So part of it is also even looking at your customer base and saying, who are my strongest raving fan customers, and really serving them so they can serve you and serve what it is you're doing as a business as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting. So let me see if I got this now, because we've covered a lot of territory here. I own a business and I want to change things. First thing I got to get clear about, that when this tape ends, probably the first thing I'd want to do is sit down and say, if I was going to define being successful, not someday, experiencing success when I've achieved something, but what are the criteria, the internal criteria for me that would make me feel alive, make me feel like my life was on course? What would those criteria be? And they may be like yours. They may have to do with freedom. They have to do with time. For some people, it may be that I'm fully employed every day doing something. But whatever it is, we got to know what it is for us. Yes. Because otherwise, if you don't start with the end in mind, you're going to end up, getting someplace that you don't want to be. You might even achieve and then say, gosh, is this all there is? And I've seen that happen to so many people. So I think out of our conversation, that's the first piece. Mm-hmm. Second piece is, I need to understand the misconceptions about marketing. That branding, unless you've been around for a long time, is very expensive and takes a long time. And so instead of trying to brand yourself or brand your agency or brand the company, depending on where you are in the age of the company and the scale of the company, if it's a brand new company, if it's 5 years old, whatever the case may be, direct marketing is going to give me the greatest return for my time and my energy and my money. I want to look at my direct marketing in a new way. I want to